That's the old rear end that had the 342 gear in it, and that's stripped down as much as I'm gonna strip it down. I took the gears out of there, the 342 gears out, and there's a shim. There's a shim that goes on each side of the carrier bearing, so I use those shims and I put that in the new rear end. I mic'd the shims on both, and the other rear end, or the other carrier, was so tight in the housing I almost couldn't get it off. And the shims that were in this one were 3/1000 smaller, and it was still snug going in there, but it went in there nice, and the backlash feels good, and so I'm just gonna run it. That's the older end. I was thinking about trying to get these out of there, but they usually don't come out. It's just like a speed sensor that's on a front hub. You can get the bolt out, but you usually destroy the sensors getting them out, and the new rear end had sensors in it, so I think I'm just gonna run it like that. This was a old antique cart that I got in trade, in a trade deal with a old Cub Cadet tractor. The lady had this old cart with some parts on it, and I took it. So I added this board on the end, and I put a piece of plywood on top, and now I've got a little tool cart with a garbage can that I can roll around. That makes that nice to have the tools all in one spot. I got my metric sockets all laid out here, and these are really nice for organizing sockets. It's just easy to see exactly what you need, and it holds them nice. They don't slide around. It takes up a lot less room that way. I really like these trays. I think these were from Matco. It might not have been Matco, but when the Matco guy started dealing with another tool company. And the snap-on one came like that, and it's magnetic in the bottom, so the sockets stay in there, which that's nice. So, and so there's the old gear set and the new rear end. Just hear that little bit of backlash. That sounds good. Before I put the axles in, I was going to change these backing plates. These old backing plates were pretty well shot. They're supposed to be another inch or so on the outside. So I just pulled that flange off of there with the emergency brake thing on it, and I had to beat on this thing to get it to loosen up, but I got that to loosen up. That's the old backing plate, and that's gonna go in the scrap and get that cleaned up so I can put the new one on. And these emergency brake cables are fun to get out of there. This rear end is in a lot better shape on the ends here.
You think we can drop this? I don't think it will. Yeah, check.
The frame's nice. Body mount and rod on, right? Yeah. I would think somebody would want that.
I don't think it's
Yeah. You have to block up the wheel. Shit. Wreck my dick. Well, that's it. You got a guy that wants the frame, and now I'm gonna have to get maybe my little trailer, or figure out where I'm gonna put the box. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. And as you can see, I got the cab off over there. I set that on that heavy steel table. You can see I set that on that heavy steel table so I could get the cab out of the way, and then I could use the lift to get the box off. So this guy that's coming's got a flatbed, and said he wants it for a project, and it's definitely a really nice frame. Probably not too many old trucks like this that have a frame that's that nice. I mean, you can tell by this is what usually gets real bad. Look how that's all full thickness, still bare steel underneath that mount. Of course, the springs and all the chassis components there are kind of shot, but it's probably from sitting in the field. But there's no heavy rust jacking on this thing or anything. You know, the frame is all at full thickness. Cross members are nice. Looks like it had just enough oil and stuff splattered on it to preserve it. So it'd be nice to get this out of here, get the bed out of here, and get back on this, try to figure out how I'm gonna cut this cab. And I need to cut the firewall out of the Tahoe, and somehow I'm gonna make the dash in the Tahoe look old, like the dash in the old truck. I'm either gonna try to use parts of the dash from the old truck, or I'm gonna make something out of sheet metal similar. And I still haven't decided if I'm gonna buy some sheet metal tools and make the floor pans, or if I'm gonna buy floor pan or pieces of floor pan for the old truck there. And that. So yeah, so that's the update for now. I'm dressed like this because it was single digits this morning. Negative, I don't know, negative 10 this morning, wind chill. Just right now it's low teens, but probably still 0 with the wind chill. And after work I just came over for just a little bit to get this apart so that he could come get the frame. And so I just want to give you guys a little update, and we'll pick up on the next video, and hopefully we'll be figuring out what to do on that cab, and be either cutting the firewall out of the Tahoe, or cutting the firewall out of this old truck, and figuring what direction we're gonna go. The one thing I wanted to say was, I don't know if I mentioned it in the other video, but this thing is I mean, obviously it's not in great shape, but it's in good shape. The doors still line up nice. I can get everything freed up and adjusted. Obviously I'll have to do new weather strip. The only glass that's any good is the front, so I'm gonna pull that out, and I'll try to save it and get a new rubber and use that old glass in here. I need all the side glass, and that piece in the back is just a piece of plexiglass, so it needs some work. But where this project is going to save me a lot of time is on the body, because what I'm planning on doing is just cleaning this with like Scotch-Brite and cleanser or some kind of cleaner. And I don't know if I'm going to treat the rust, or I'm just planning on putting some kind of clear coat on here. I'm really planning on a flat clear because I don't want it to be shiny. I don't know if I might fix that cab corner and then just try to blend in a color that's close, or just leave it in primer maybe. I don't plan on doing anything with the fenders. The cab corner kind of bothers me because I don't want stuff being able to get in there. Come on. Gotta get welded back up. Well, it was really hard for me to do that, but I had to get committed, and it's not like I'm cutting up a cherry old cab or a cherry old truck. This thing is rusted out pretty bad, so I think I just had to get committed and get this thing opened up. Hopefully, hopefully this stuff can stay. I left the original hinge mount for now. Well, it's not for now. That has to stay because somehow that's going to have to fit around the Tahoe firewall. And I think once I figure out how this thing is going to fit, obviously I'm going to have to put a new floor pan in the front of it. It looks like maybe the back of it is okay, so I can replace this front piece. And it's got a lot of rust on it that I just have to down there. Maybe I'll have to do a little patch on it, figure out what I'm going to do on those steps. And yeah, I made the mistake of coming up through here and cutting into this factory hinge mount, so I'm gonna have to get that straightened out and weld that back up. But that's good metal right there. And then obviously once I get the other firewall in here, this will all be cleaned and radius the corner, and that'll be reinforced, either welded to the Tahoe firewall and reinforced, somehow get that reinforced to hold the weight of that hood. But there's the old firewall, and we're finally getting committed on this thing. Man, I couldn't believe when I fired up the Sawzall inside this thing. It just shook the living crap out of this thing, and it probably did a good job actually of rattling some of this old crap loose. Yeah, see this side is nice, or decent. I don't know what that is. And then yeah, the steps, these step pans are really bad, so and that I see them online and they're not terrible too much, so, and they come with the rocker, so I could probably buy those and splice those in. I cannot believe that somebody hacked these speakers into this thing. Look what they did to the dash. They hacked that freaking AM or 8-track radio in there. Didn't grind the edges or repaint it or anything. Same on the other door. Yeah, this probably have to get a cab corner. Even though I think I talked about in the last one, I want this truck to look just like that on the outside, but obviously I want the corners to be solid, and I want it to be sealed off from the critters. Look what they did to that door. Oh my god, that makes me sick. I'm gonna have to figure out something for that. Maybe find another, because this is part of the door. Might have to find another door and cut a piece out of it to patch that. That's gonna be fun. Excited to get going on this project, and we'll see where it takes us. Thanks for watching.